Sorry about the noise. That's the first step of making bee boxes. We go to the sawmill, saw them up, and then we air dry them for at least 3 months, and then we plane them, and then I'll bring you back till we start cutting them down. So we're over here at the miter saw station, and every box from 6 frame, 8 frame, 10 frames, I have these boards painted red, so I know how to set my miter saw up every time. They're exact every time. So first thing we do, we set up the jig. That's 8 frame. We're building 6 frame boxes today. So, and what I always do is, I always make the first cut just a little bigger because they're rough cut. And then we take them and cut them down the size. And then we bring them back and cut them to the right size. That way, if there's any bows, they'll be true. Boxes will be true. So, give me one of these boards. So by the knots, I know if I'm going to get an end board or a side. Now it's important not that you can have knots in the middle, but on the very edge, because you'll see on one of our procedures, we're going to finger joint this, and then the handle cut in. But these will only be 6 5/8, so a lot of this knot, depending on what side we cut off, will be gone. Look at the knots to make sure they're pretty decent this way. This one's got a wormhole in it, but we only need 6 5/8, so that wormhole will be gone. What's your light cord? Always straighten up the ends first. Like you can see this knot here, it's pretty weak, so I'll cut that knot out. If the knot's solid and no threat to falling out, I'll use it. Sometimes there's so much pull on it that because the board is bowed from knots. Okay, there's our 10 that we needed. We'll go to the next station. Okay, here are one of our table saws. I use these old Milwaukee Deltas. These are in the 50s. They're one unit. They got a joiner and the table saw, and I actually have 5 of these tables. This one's just the table saw. The next step we go to, that's just the table saw. It didn't have the combo. I have 2 of those and I have 3 of these. This one here is my oldest. I actually got this from a gentleman. He actually delivered it to me from the mountains. You might have heard of him, Justin Metcalf. And that's how we became friends. That was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I love these old things. I try to buy every one that comes up for sale because they're getting harder and harder. They're all cast iron, and they just have one motor. But we'll set this up and we'll show you how to cut we'll cut everything to length or width, I guess. These are medium boxes, Beehive boxes, so they get 6 5/8. right. Normally Tasha does this part. I'll join them for her and then she can cut them. Okay, Tasha. So we'll let that shut off. So when we're jointing, we want to joint the side that's going to go against the rest. So we have to look at every piece because like this one has bark on it. So obviously we want to run it through the saw and cut that part off. So just a heads up, you always want to look at the board. Now we're going to move to this saw. Set your big ones down. What this saw does is put a groove. This saw is all original. It actually has the pull wire, all that, but we'll start it up here. This got a set of data blades in it. And that puts a shelf on there. See how that's got that knot? This should take that knot off. Knot's gone. Now we take these back to the miter saw and cut them to length. We'll bring you back. So now we're back here to the miter saw. We get our same and we move our slide. And then what I do is I always square it up. twice to make sure everything's square. I know a lot of them, you know, we air dry our boards, so they're straight when we stack them, but they do run. Okay, that step's done. Next step is finger jointing. Okay, so this is how we plug. Actually, we can put the finger joints on the machine or on the boards itself. There again, it's loud, but so we went from this to this. Just with a stroke. And that's the long side. Where's we have it? So if you notice, this finger is a little shorter. The reason why is when you put these together, here's that little shelf that we put in there with the data blade. It sits on there, plugs everything. Then you have a nice, once you staple them, they're tight. So we'll do one more of these and we'll go down and do how we do the handles, and then I'll put one together so the video ain't as long. This is where I put handles on it. Now this here is just a shop fax or shop box, just a shaper. And I actually built all this so the handles will come out right. This is from Grizzly. It's a rabbit, 3/4 rabbit, and a cove bit. And I'll show you what it does. Always look to see what's the nicest side. You want the nicest side out. You can see I put spacers in here because of the distance. So I got 6 frame, 8 frame, and 10 frame. You know, that way the handle is centered on the end. Now, I'll pause this for a second. We'll go over and we'll put one together. So, okay, here's where I put everything together. Now they can only go together one way because you have the lip, but you can accidentally flip it around and put the handle on the inside. It happened. It's happened to me quite a few times. So I like to put my staples on an angle. That way they can never pull apart. And there you have it. One. Hey sis, bring me that frame, one of them frames right there. Over there, one of them half. This is considered a honey super. And they take medium frames. But these rails in here, here's a medium frame. See how it just sits on there. And then you get 6 frames in here. And they, with this little groove, they keep them 3/8 inches apart, and the bees just have fun. So this is how we build Beehive boxes. Bring me one of them deep ones right there, sis. So this is a medium, and I built these yesterday, but I didn't video. And here's a deep. Built the same way. So this would be your brood box, and then your honey super goes on top. I myself personally run a deep and a medium for brood, so I put black frames in here, and then I run another one of these for honey, which is white frames. But most people run 2 deeps, and then for brood, and then 1 honey super. So that's how we build a beehive body box here at Hilltop Bee Supply, and it's one of the incomes I have from being able to stay at home and work the homestead, you know, raising the chickens we butcher, the pigs we butcher, the laying hens, we have ducks. But this is just one of the side things. I mow, I trade honey, so this is a very valuable, because we trade honey for raw milk that we make our butter. And I also trade honey for the feed we have ground for a local farmer that grinds our feed. I trade him eggs and honey, and he grinds us corn for the pigs. So different ways that we can have an income on the homestead and grow things ourselves that we can use to barter. Honey's expensive. I know the jars, we use glass jars, and they doubled since COVID. So obviously we had to raise our honey prices, and lumbers went through the roof, but we had to go up a little bit with our boxes, but we cut our own trees, we mill our own lumber. I have an Amish buddy that does that with me. It's his mill, but I trade work for him doing work for us, you know. So I move his mills with my 1-ton truck, help him move stuff, and I help him bale hay. with my truck. His baler's got an engine on it. Maybe I'll put a little post or a little video clip of me using my truck to bale hay. And we do that to barter. You know, back in the day, you know, a couple hundred years ago, that's what everybody had to do is barter. They didn't have the money to go out and buy stuff, so we barter, we trade. I have people come and stuff that we need that they'll give me, and I'll trade bee boxes, I trade honey, you know, so it's a win-win for everybody, and nobody has to spend money, which is very, very hard to come by nowadays. So so this is a little video I've been wanting to do for a while and just ain't had the opportunity to. My daughter came today and helped me plane wood, and was able to bust these out. This is actually an order for a guy that's coming probably tomorrow. So we'll end it now, and hope you enjoy this little video. Thanks.